of 7 members, with us a CEO of the board who is also the director of revenue in the county. So what they do is, apart from running, they're a part-time board, so they run revenue collection, and we convene every second Thursday of the month. The board convenes all of us, the entire, myself, my TCs and the chief officers, to review the revenue collection. So in terms of structure, we have the Revenue Administration Act, we have the Revenue Board Act, and then we have the Finance Act. So that is the structure that we use for purposes of revenue collection, Chair. So the receiver of revenue is also a member of that board. It sits in that board.
In terms of forecasting for on-source revenue, is that done by the board or that is done by management?
This is done by the board in consultation with the management. So it is done by the management in consultation with the board.
Because one of the concerns that we had noted earlier is that you had a budget of 2.3 billion on-source revenue. Of course, it was revised along the way, and you achieved 1.2 billion. And the question that we've always had is that, do we overestimate on-source revenue so that we can balance some numbers, especially the fiscal responsibility numbers? What's the science of budgeting 2.3 and achieving 1.2? Yeah. What is that outlier event that you are anticipating that would grow your revenues by 2 billion in a year?
Chair, before the governor responds, perhaps she was anticipating some sort of pandemic in Homa Bay. Because if you look at the numbers here, out of the 1.2 billion realized from as on-source revenue, 841 million is from hospital charges. And that is very worrying to me, because I'm wondering, why do you need a board? I thought that board is for revenue is supposed to come up with creative ways to raise revenue for the entity governor. Just sitting there at level 4 and waiting for people to come and pay hospital fees is not very creative. And the people of this country have had
aligned to certain factors.
Chair, maybe
Senator Chorage, then the governor can answer.
I want to agree with Senator Sifuna, because, and you know, we have passed Facilities Improvement Act, which now separates the revenue that goes to hospital. And I'm trying to look at the revenue streams of Homa Bay under receiver of revenue. Chair, apart from the revenue that are generated through the hospital, what is, maybe the fiscal analyst can tell us, Chair, what is the revenue potential of Homa Bay? That what is the revenue potential? Of course, as a county of endless potential, what is the revenue? Number 2, Chair, these revenue streams looks like they have not been harnessed. And the projection that there has been consistency in trend analysis looks more cosmetic as opposed to real on what is happening in terms of harmonizing. So, Governor, this board seems, apart from just isolate the issue of revenue that is generated by the hospitals, give us what are the total revenue streams, and this inconsistency between the financial years that Mr. Alphonse were as analyzed from financial year 2021-2022, 2023-2024, and I think 20 up to 2023-2024. So that would settle my mind. And maybe before Governor answers, Chair, with your indulgence, maybe the fiscal analyst, I don't know whether Salat is here.
Salat is here. You can give us
the revenue potential.
potential.
OSR potential.
Homa Bay has really surpassed this revenue potential. The revenue potential for Homa Bay is 1,024,200,000. So they have really surpassed the.
Okay.
So that assessment by the CRA indicators. So maybe on the other part, on the issue of revenue streams, maybe the governor can tell us and whether all the collection of revenue has been digitized, and whether they own the domain and who runs, or do they pay the agency fees in terms of the running and collection of revenue, whether it is automated, Chair, so that but we really want to know other revenue streams, Chair. I yield.
Senator Katai.
Thank you, Chair. I want to end on the question posed by Senator Sifuna. One would be interested to know now that we have a board in place which is supposed to oversee the administration of the revenue and so forth. So away from the area of the sector, which is coming out very significantly, which is collecting around 841 million, we have some other streams like market dues with very little collection. We have beach fee services, very little collection. So what is the success story about this board?
Okay.
If you delete, if you are not considering any of the sector, I mean, do other streams are almost like there's nothing being corrected from those other streams.
Fine. The question, the last one by Senator Cherargei on systems, because it's a substantive audit issue, we can deal with it by referring to the audit report. But maybe just go back to the issues raised by the senators, and maybe we sound cynical because we are not used to success stories within the public finance space. The PBO is telling us that your revenue potential is 1 billion. You have exceeded it. I mean, it is a kind of, we should be congratulating you, but you need to prove to us those numbers. Your revenue potential is 1 billion, but you had a budget of 2.3 billion. That also brings to doubt the projections from the CRA, because if Homa Bay can project 2.3B and they are doing 1.2B, unless those projections exclude hospital fees, because there is a conversation around hospital fees, whether they should be here, and yet you've got facility improvement financing, which should segregate the numbers. But Governor, you may respond. We are happy to listen to a success story.
Thank you very much, Chairman, and I thank the senators for their questions. So Senator Sifuna said if we remove the health sector revenues, will our revenue model collapse? So first, I'd like to state that when we came to Homa Bay in 2022-23, our revenue, inclusive of the health sector revenue, was 300. Was it 200? Yeah, it was 234 million, which means that.
Which financial year is that?
That was 2019-20 or 2021-22. 2021-22. So starting from that point, inclusive of the revenue generated from healthcare, we wanted to see how to consolidate our revenue. The revenue.
Accuracy. Just on accuracy, Governor.
Yeah.
I thought the report has been done by Were. Why don't the governor quote the exact figure? And it is here. This is on receiver of revenue 21-22. This is your receiver of revenue statements for financial year 20, but you have given analysis of 21-22.
How much was it?
How much?
311,995,474.
21-22. Okay.
And then in 22-23 is 859,454,023. And now in 2023-2024 is 1.2 1.2 billion 495,830.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it demonstrates what you're saying.
So I think the point I was trying to make there is that inclusive of the healthcare revenue, the revenue was still performing very, very low. So one of the things we had to do within our facilities is to see also how do we consolidate the revenue, because this revenue goes back to provide healthcare to the people. So in the first place, our revenue improvement plan had to include our health sector revenue, because we felt there was also something going on there that we could work together to improve. And that is why we moved it from the 311 and to 2022-2023. 2022-2023. It was 859. So, Senator Sifuna, even working within what we have, even in terms of healthcare revenue, there has still been significant improvement even in that sector alone. And that improvement reflects then on the level of service within the facilities. Then coming to the other revenue streams. If you look at land rates, for example, actual revenues in 2022-2023 was 5.9 million, and then actual revenues in 2023-24 was 8.3 million. That is for land rates as an example. If you look at single business permits, in 2022-2023, there were 61,770,000. If you look at 2023-2024, we moved from 61 million to 99 million. And in 2024-2025, we are at 101 million. So we have, because of the revenue administration measures, including the board, we have had improvement, not just in the health revenue, but in all our revenue streams, because of the order that has been created.
Governor, you might be looking at a different document, because mine is 64 million for 2022-2023 for single business permits.
Yeah, the report.
Authority. So can you paint that? And you know, Chair, we saw, and you know, we are judicially noticed that there were some of your facilities that they were being accused that they do not exist, but they receive remittances from SHA, and I think it became a national concern. So maybe put into us that perspective in terms of reimbursement from the Social Health Authority. But on the issue of whether they are sick, I think you should tell us whether is the facilities within Homa Bay serving only Homa Bay residents, or some of your neighbors from Kisumu and Kisii have immigrated, and therefore that is why you are getting more resources.
Okay, Governor.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, I think I just wanted to state that the growth in revenue within health is become as a result of tightening a lot of things within the sector, the health sector, and also putting our eyes as a government on the health sector revenues and making sure that we have no leakages there, and that the facilities are facilitated to be able to make their claims and do everything. And we're also registering. We moved our registrations, for example, from 6% to 19% when we were still in NHIF, and now to 49% when we have moved to SHA. So that has been the push. Are we concerned that 70% of our revenue is from health? Yes. We want to diversify our revenue streams. So we have been working, for example, on our land revenues, digitizing of our land records and linking it up to the revenue system. And that also I would like to answer Senator Cherargei, who asked, do we have a digital system? Do we have all our streams onboarded on the digital system? Yes, we have most of our streams onboarded onto the digital system. Land was one of the later ones, but land in the last couple of months, we have also been able to now link up land. So one of the streams that we are putting all our eyes on in this coming financial year, is the land rates revenues, because these are revenues that are there, and if you go after the owners of the land, then they can be able to pay both the arrears that they hold and also the current revenues. That can be able to push. We have pushed a lot our single business permits. As you saw, we have had quite a bit of growth from about 64 to 101 million within one financial year. That's no mean feat. Remembering that Homa Bay is a rural village county, most of the towns are in the rural areas. To get SBPs to that extent also took a lot of work, digitization, digital invoicing, so that people are able to pay up for the invoices. I wanted to respond to the question of SHA and the facilities that were said not to have existed, and I think it is very clear that in naming of places, many areas have the same name, and in this case, we had a facility that we are yet to open in Nyandiwa in Kasipul constituency. It is a dispensary, and then we have Nyandiwa Level 4 Hospital, which is in Suba South, which is a facility that has been in existence since the 70s. So apart from the political spin that the issue got, these are two distinct facilities, and recently we received the Health Committee of the National Assembly that came and saw both the facility in Kasipul and the facility in Nyandiwa, and the kind of work that the facility in Nyandiwa has done, even with their FIF, they were very, very impressed at the improvements that have taken place in the real Nyandiwa. But I think there was a political spin to it. I just wanted to make that clear since Senator Cherargei raised it. So the question of are we that sick does not really arise. I think people get sick and go to facilities, but the reason for increase of revenue is very, very deliberate. Very, very deliberate in terms of getting our revenue collection and administration in order. And Chairman, there was a question you asked earlier about how do we project, and I wanted the Chairman of the Revenue Board, who's also a long-standing, retired from KRA after serving there for over 30 years, to maybe just make a short response of how do we project our revenue and how did we result in an overprojection that fell short.
Okay, before that interjection, let's hear from the Vice Chair and Senator Sifuna.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'm looking at note 12, and I got interested on this revenue stream on conservancy administration, which increased from 1.2 million to 12 million in 2023-2024. And when I look at page 11 of the statements, that conservancy administration, the major increment was as a result of liquor licensing. That is on page 11, up there, which increased from 350,500 to 10.9 million. What was happening before, Governor? Does it mean that there were no licenses or liquor licensing in 2022-2023? So much so that maybe because of a law or just enforcement, we got this increment from 350 to 10.9 million, just for my curiosity, Chair.
Okay. Senator Sifuna.
Yeah, Chair. First of all, Governor, the SHA itself and the Ministry of Health has admitted that there were ghost facilities that were actually receiving payments. So it is not very fair to say that it was just about politics. The government itself has admitted that there were facilities that were getting payments from SHA that do not exist. There was also a list of facilities that was put out, that was banned. And one of the things the ministry explained is that people are registering names of facilities that are so close to each other. That is how they are facilitating the fraud. So the suspicion of Kenyans really was to seek answers, not to say that it was about politics. But I wanted to understand, ordinarily, just for the perspective of people who are not fishermen, like the chair, how much do you charge for these so-called landing fees? Because I want to understand something, Chair. How much is it?
Okay, as the Governor responds, I think on the efficiencies or inefficiencies of SHA, the person who should be sitting there is Aden Duale. Unless, Governor, you want to defend Duale's issues, just deal with your issues in Homa Bay. To avoid a very broad conversation that will take us to an area where you do not have subject matter expertise. I think what Senator Sifuna said is a fact, and it is not only happening in Homa Bay, it's happening across the country. I think for SHA, let's go back to how your numbers will look like with the introduction of SHA. I think that's an important thing for us to understand from Homa Bay.
Chair, you made me forget one other thing. In the disclosures themselves, if you look at note number 8, which covers the hospital fees, Governor, you have attributed the bulk of the money from, in terms of the income for the facilities, to payments from insurance and SHA. Now, you have only disclosed level 4 hospitals. Are you saying these are the only hospitals that are paid by SHA in the county? Do you have any other levels of hospitals? And where is the revenue from those?
And I think what we have seen in that kind of disclosure is that you indicate whatever rebates came from NHIF, whatever rebates came from Linda Mama when it used to be there, and whatever was collected from facilities. In this case, you have not provided that breakdown. So it's very difficult to establish the facts around what you had said. Could you deal with the liquor licensing? I know this committee has processed that matter in the past, but just put it on record. But help us understand, now that SHA has been introduced, because people think that there'll be no payment at the hospital, but then there are certain rebates that are coming. Will those rebates come back to the 800 million that you have been collecting previously? And then we'll allow the chair of your board to tell us about the budgeting process.
Thank you, Chairman. In terms of liquor license, you remember, Chairman, our first meeting in KICC, one of the things we were put to task on is whether we had mapped our facilities and whether we were, ready to push an improvement in that particular revenue stream. And we assured you that by the September of that year, we were going to have fully mapped our liquor facilities, and that was going to result in an improvement. So we mapped all our facilities, and we also mapped them to the system. So we have been able to push increase in liquor licensing by mapping all the liquor facilities, and also through the support by the Revenue Board and the reviews, the monthly reviews of what revenues we are receiving. That is what has resulted in that push. And that push is not just in liquor alone. If you look at the revenue streams, you will see that majority of them, just by leadership, monitoring, and efficient revenue management system and digitization, you're able to see much more revenues. Chair, we are not where we want to be in terms of revenue. we have room for improvement, and a lot of it, and we are daily working on that room for improvement. We are daily improving our revenue, and when we come back for 2024-25, you will see that a lot of the streams, again, we have moved further than where we were. In terms of the question of the levels of facilities that are receiving money, in 2023-24, we were on NHIF mostly, and NHIF was mostly giving money to level 4 facilities, with exception of Linda Mama, which was being given to facilities, lower level facilities that were charging. Now, with the SHA, now you have the reimbursement of the primary healthcare fund that is going to lower level facilities, and that's why we are saying lower level facilities are not expecting any money from the public. That is level 2 and 3, because they are getting the primary healthcare fund directly from SHA. So moving forward, Chairman, we have seen 2024-25, the revenues have actually gone higher. What has happened is out of pocket has reduced. And why has out of pocket reduced? It has been because of the, and I'm not speaking about for SHA generally. And the reason I also responded to the issue of Nyandiwa was I was responding to the specific Homa Bay question. And even the politics I was referring to was specific Homa Bay politics, not necessarily national politics in that sense. So what we have seen in 2024-25 is an increase. Why? Because and a reduction of out-of-pocket expenditure, but an increase in the amount of reimbursement. This is because SHA has removed the waiting period. The 2 months that you had to wait, the 60 days that you had to wait in NHIF. So if I arrive at a facility and I need to, spend 10,000, but my SHA for the whole year is 6,000, I will pay SHA for 6,000 and then I will receive treatment. So this has seen more people paying in the SHA, and therefore the amount of money that the hospitals are receiving in reimbursement has grown. And the amount of money people are spending on out-of-pocket has reduced. Not for any reason, just because people can pay immediately and get services. The viability of that, or the question of its sustainability and so on, I think that's what you said is a different question, and is a question to be answered by a different person.
There's a capitation. Is it 9,000 on average? It is
900 shillings.
So what does that mean? Is that what reverts back to the facility?
Yes, that is paid to the facility on the
Per
basis.
visit or annually?
No, is it per quarter? It's per person annually. It's per person annually.
Annually.
Yeah.
So is that equivalent to the reimbursement that you're talking about?
Primary healthcare fund, yes, for the primary healthcare.
So 900 per person annually means that you need 1 million people to make the 900 million that you're making now.
Yeah, a lot of the 900 million is based on SHIF. It's the insurance part, where you conduct a surgery, and one surgery will be 70,000, 100,000, even 200,000 sometimes. So a lot of that is in the category of the insurance, not of the primary healthcare fund.
Okay.
That is the level 4 and above.
Senator Wambua?
Chair, now, if this was answered when I was out, then it's okay. I'll get it from the Secretariat. But I'm just wondering, Chair, out of the disclosure, the entire amount of money that is declared from the health sector as a source of revenue for the county, the entire amount comes from level 4. Is it to say then nothing was received from any other health sector facility? The entire amount to the cent comes from level 4.
It's a good question. It was asked by Senator Sifuna. I think the governor has addressed it. That was Linda Mama from lower facilities. But what the governor has not accepted is that they ought to have broken this down. Receiver of revenue. As a member of the institute, you know what the template requires. You ought to break this down so that we are able to see the components. What comes from out of pocket, what comes from the other insurance funds.
Chair, thanks for bringing that up, because I personally don't believe that people of Homa Bay are not paying out of pocket. Our experience here in Nairobi is totally different. Maybe we need to benchmark. But because there is a ground person here, Chair, allow me to hear from the MCA there. If the sergeant at arms can give him the mic, I want to know his experience with his people there in his village. He can tell us his word, whether really people are not paying out of pocket in Homa Bay. Because here in Nairobi, we are still having cases of people going to the facilities and being asked to pay money out of pocket, and it's not a small number. Honorable
Senator Sifuna, you'll allow me to give the directions.
That's why I asked you, but you were busy.
But we'll be careful not to mix what SHA ought to deliver globally versus the responsibility of Homa Bay County. Because I hear you, I feel you. You want to pick a sample, and we have seen there are issues around SHA. There are issues around SHA. And but it is not for this governor to defend SHA unless you became the government spokesperson.
No, Chair, you know, when I was speaking, you were a bit distracted. You have framed it for us that we needed a breakdown to see what really is the situation. Because when the county claims that the bulk of this money is actually reimbursements from SHA, and we in our counties are having challenges, we have to interrogate. Maybe there's something we are doing wrong, or there's something that we can learn from Homa Bay.
Was there SHA in this financial year, or this was NHIF?
This was NHIF because SHA started in October, which would now became the financial year 2024-2025.
Correct.
So what we're discussing now is NHIF.
So this is NHIF. So and maybe the question is the NHIF outstanding reimbursements, whether they were received in full. Because I think that's a national problem for this particular financial year.
No, Homa Bay is owed over 100 million in NHIF claims that were not fully given to us.
So ideally, this should have been at least 941 million, if the 100 million had come in.
If the 100 million had come in, yes.
Okay, so members, I'm not defensive. I'm just drawing the line that these are numbers relating to NHIF, and SHA will be in this current financial year.
Yeah, there was a discussion that happened prior to this meeting beginning, where we were suggesting that maybe we should let the vice chair chair today's meeting. I am increasingly getting convinced that you need to move to the next chair, because this is your home county and you might have biases that you might not even be aware of yourself. Because we want to learn. We want to learn from what Homa Bay is doing. The rosy picture that has been painted for us really doesn't make any sense, because we have different experiences in our counties. So when I request the MCA, he's here. Let him tell us his village, the one he represents, is what we are being told the situation that is obtaining on the ground.
That is in order.
And
for the record, my vice chair is also the vice chair of ODM, so that is also not very useful.
Can I chair?
But Chair, I wanted to Chair.
Okay, order. Let's get back to the issues.
I wanted to be very clear that a big portion of the money that we are receiving is from insurance. People also pay out of pocket. That is also a situation. People also pay out of pocket. But if you compare it to the percentage that we receive from insurance, the percentage from insurance is way higher than what people are paying out of pocket, particularly in the financial year that we are speaking about, which was 2023-2024. But even now, people still pay out of pocket, but the percentage that is paid out of pocket, and this is not because of that the numbers are few. It is because that what people can afford to pay out of pocket is much less than what the insurance will reimburse. For example, if you have 1,000 people paying 1,000 shillings, and you compare it to just one procedure that is going to bring in 100,000, that is why the amount that is being paid from insurance is higher than the amount that is being paid out of pocket. And that is what we explained. And the amount of money that has been consolidated there should be broken down. Because in our financial report every month, it is broken down as level 4 facilities by name. I don't know if we can get just a sample report that we receive at our revenue roundtable so that the senators can see it. It is the level 4 facilities. It is the other facilities, that is level 2 and 3. They are put under one line because there are many. And then it is public health revenue. And then in that report, there is FIF, and then there is what the insurance is going to pay. There is the money that people are paying from their pocket, and then there is money that is paid over and
So, Governor, to help you, going forward, we must demand on that. We must demand for that disclosure. I think that's the reason why this question is arising, because we are used to seeing that breakdown in other county reports. Do you want the MCA to respond first? Or?
Yes, he will. But I just make a comment on what she just said. That which she says would have been given to us, if we had it, well, there will be no question. But you see, we don't have it. What we have is a disclosure of 841, all coming from level 4. We can only engage with that. We cannot engage with what we don't have.
Agreed. Governor, you get the point that disclosure ought to be there. And if it's available, just circulate it. I think it can help to allay some of the fears that we have.
Chairman, we can share a sample of 1 month report as we receive it. We can send it to George.
Send it to George.
And
he can circulate to the members.
The facilities are listed. Then the level 3 facilities are lower level facilities are listed. Then the public health revenue is listed, and then it is broken now, and it is from all facilities.
Okay. The Honorable Wanga, don't make a speech. Just deal with the question raised by Senator Sifuna, even though the governor seems to have touched on it. The question was whether Senator Sifuna just frame it precisely, or Wanga is a politician. He might start singing and making a speech.
It's a yes or no. Are your people being asked to pay anything when they go to hospitals? It's that simple.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Because I've been given a conditional question, and you want me to say yes or no, the answer is yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I think the governor, you alluded to it. Yes. So some of the things we are hearing in the political platform might not be factual. When you're told that uende hospitali level 1 up to level 4 na usilipe chochote, but kwa ground things could be different. But since this system started in October, I think it is in this forthcoming financial year that we'll be able to get a better view on it. Now, we had said that the chair of the board was to help us to understand the budgeting process, but I want us to deal with a very specific issue on the system first, and then I'll ask the chair to speak after that.
Chair, I have queued for some time.
Oh, sorry, Senator Cherardi.
I think you should not.
Because the system question, you're the one who asked.
Yes.
That's why I wanted
you
to respond.
You are doing very well. You should not be intimidated since you are presiding over your county. But just avoid a few biases here and there. Chair, I just want note number 11, hire of county assets. Governor, the hire of stadium, park and open spaces, you in 2023-2024, and I want to assume you came into power towards the end of September 2022-2023 after being sworn in. You raised 1,723,726, but in the previous financial year, you did not raise anything. What is the reason? That is page number 10. Because I think there is a park called Senator Moses Kajwang. What is the park in Homa Bay? It's called Weno or Werwa. What was the name? Do you have a park? The MCA, Waka.
No, I think put the question to the governor.
No, apart from Governor, when was Raila Odinga Stadium complete and being used by the public? And then number 2, how many park do you have, as in wildlife park or any other? And these open spaces, what do you mean by open spaces? Does it include the what do we call, the auditorium where people were watching Chan matches? Because in the previous year you collected 0, but in the following year you collected 1.7 million. It is your financials. So what is the challenge?
Dr. Lelegwe, Senator?
Chair, on the same questions on performance, I've noted at note 11, not note 11, but under note 11 of financial statement says agricultural produce road fee has declined from 24 million to 12 million in 2023-2024 financial year. And fairly, when I look at all your revenue streams, this is clearly an outlier, decreasing your revenue at CES.
Under CES on page 8, that's note 1.
Yes. Page 8 at the top there, and note 1. There's a decline by 50%. And when you look at your other revenue streams, most of them has registered positive growth. What might be the reason why at 2023-2024, there was
and now we have an arboretum and also the amphitheater at the lakefront. We will be able to collect some revenues there for weddings and other things, just activities and events, but not for individual persons using the facilities. In terms of the agricultural produce road fee, a lot of the...
The question by Chirage was in the 2022-2023, there is zero collection.
Can you see that, Governor? That is note number 11, page 10 on your ROR.
But there were other stadiums.
There was no stadium. The stadium was not complete.
There was no park, there was nothing.
There was no park, animal park, you don't have?
No, animal is different, Chair, Senator Chirage. The Ruma National Park is the game park that we have, but we do not receive any revenues from it because it's a national park, not a game reserve. So the revenues go directly to Kenya Wildlife Service.
So there was no stadium, there was no park, there was no open spaces.
That is how much work we have done in the time we have been in office.
Okay, Governor, let's proceed a bit faster. The agricultural produce road fee.
Here, Ndiwa Sukari, which is the main producer of CES, was closed for a while for repairs, and therefore we lost quite a bit of CES in between. And we also had Kibos that was taking sugarcane from Homa Bay to Kisumu, and they also left during that time. So that is the reason that we had the decline in the agricultural monies. Thank you.
Honorable members, I want to request that we look at the systems environment, wrap this up, and then go to the issues in the main executive report. Auditor General, you had an observation on systems environment, and I think you had indicated that there's something that has not been resolved. Very quickly, can you read your findings? As the Auditor General takes us to anomalies in the revenue collection and management system, the issues raised under valuation role, we'll take note of the responses. This is a matter that should be kept in view because we have looked at the detailed response. So it's something that the auditor will report on in the subsequent audit. But let's deal with anomalies in the revenue collection and management system.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Anomalies in the revenue collection and the management system. The county government of Homa Bay procured a craft biller system for revenue collection and management from the local vendor through a contract signed on 26th May 2023. However, audit of the system conducted in October 2024 revealed the following anomalies. One, Error handling had not been hardened. Overly informative errors messages were revealed to users. An attempt to generate receipts returned on error messages with SQL code and revealed that the details of the database and the database management system used by the system. The information revealed that makes the systems an indication that the system vulnerability to attack malicious users and hackers.
Could I guide that you go straight to paragraph 7, because that is where the outstanding matter is.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, for guidance. Paragraph 7, that's page 6 of the financial statements. A review of the contract between the county government of Homa Bay and the vendor revealed that the contract did not specify the contract period and did not provide for the payments of 5% commission on revenue collected, which is paid to the contractor every month. In addition, the contract price was Kenya shilling 28,289,179, including the VAT, with the payment structured in 3 phases: 30% upon submission of the draft report, 40% upon submission of the unacceptable draft report, and 30% upon submission and approval of the final report. Although no reports were provided for audit verification on the phases of the development of the project, the vendor sent a letter reminding the county government to pay an outstanding invoices, warning that the delay could lead to a service disruption as they will shut down the systems on April 12, 2024. Yeah, in the circumstances, the security, integrity, reliability of the revenue collection and the management system and the value for money of the payments made to the vendor could not be confirmed.
Okay, Governor, your response, there are 7 paragraphs there, which we had looked at your response, but if you could narrow down on the paragraph where you are responding to 7, the issue of the 5% commission on revenue collected, which was not supported by the contract. I think that's the outstanding issue in that entire audit finding.
Thank you, Chairman. The management would like to state that the contract of automation of revenue collection and management system provides for payment of commission of 5% of revenue collected as indicated in the Appendix C of the contract. The addendum to the contract provides for a contract duration of 5 years that is renewable, subject to performance review, as set out in the service level agreement. The Appendix 6J, contract on automation of revenue collection and management system, and Appendix 6K, addendum to the contract.
I'm not sure if I'm following where the governor is reading.
Page 9 of 10.
Response, this one.
Page 9 of 10.
Page 9, yes.
Yeah. Number 7.
The appendices are the red
annex,
one. The red one. I think it's here.
The annex, yeah.
7 what?
So, Chairman, the annexures are 6J and 6K.
So 6J has the contract on automation of revenue collection and management system and addendum to contract agreement. When was the addendum signed, Governor?
I want to ask the attorney to please respond to that.
Thank you very much, Chair. The addendum is one that appears at 6K, and that was done on the 3rd of July, 2023. Should be the last document on the bigger bundle, file 1 out of 1, appendix 1 to 6K. Chair, is the last document.
If this was available as at 3rd of July 2023, why was it not provided to the Auditor General? Because this is an observation that was in the management letter, was in the draft certificate, and was in the final certificate. Why should this Senate believe that this addendum was not backdated or initiated just to disclose an audit finding? Governor?
Chairman, the 5% charge is on the contract.
Which page?
The last page of the contract. It's highlighted there.
In the addendum or
No.
in the main contract?
In the main contract, which is 6J.
The last pages are ineligible. You can't
But if
read
you,
them.
I think there's a section that is highlighted, Chair.
You know, Governor, this would be very simple. The auditor raised this and it found its way all the way to the Senate. Where were these contracts when the auditor was asking these questions? Because he says you are paying 5% to a system vendor, but that is not captured anywhere in the contract. And if it was available, I believe that your receiver of revenue would have just furnished the OAG with this information.
And
the risk we run is now processing information that could be doctored for all that we know.
Chair, you know the county attorney is a person that I know personally and have a lot of respect for. I do not doubt his ability as a lawyer. In fact, for full disclosure, he has represented the party that
Before he was
I ran
or as the
before he joined the county government of. So I am sure he knows that there are terms that go to the root of a contract, and there would be no excuse for those terms to be left out of the main contract and then subsumed in an addendum. That doesn't make sense to me. Governor, you have said there's a reference to the 5% in the main contract. I'm still struggling. I don't know if my colleagues have
The documents are likely unclear.
Could you look at the last page of the contract, where there is a table?
There's a long table that goes all the way to licenses and permits, disputes.
The very last page, Chairman.
We are there.
I don't know whether members you have a better copy, but this is a version I have.
Chair, that is why I wanted to move that this document be struck out, because it's not readable.
They are not legible.
They are not legible. And Chair, from what we know from Oba Bay, it doesn't come out very well, Chair, because nothing is readable, and the county attorney is here. If we cannot read, Governor, how can we assist in interrogating? How are we supposed to read this? Maybe Sifuna can read if he has a better eye.
Chair, can I just guide?
Yes.
Okay. If you go to the addendum to contract, and you see, because we are all grown-ups here, we can agree when mistakes have been made and corrected. If you go to the addendum, which is 6K, Honorable Chair, 6K, the addendum to contract agreement has recitals. Those recitals, I believe, are laying a historical foundation for the addendum. And it acknowledges that at the time of execution of the contract agreement, the parties were yet to agree on the contract period. This is 6K.
That is page 2. The second last
page
whereas.
2 on 1, 2, 3, 4, paragraph that appears at number 5 there, paragraph 5. Not the ones, the whereas, the recitals. Yeah. It says, at the time of execution of the contract agreement, the parties were yet to agree on the contract period and therefore did not provide, therefore, in the special conditions of contract.
Yes.
You are acknowledging that such a fundamental issue as the time of or the contract duration was not agreed upon. And then you go to say that this addendum is necessitating the provisions that follow there, including the contract period and the other terms there. So you can say it was an oversight in the initial contract, or it had not been agreed as your document itself is saying.
Chair, the point I was making, Chair, was that the 5% commission was part of the original contract. What was not contained, what is contained in the addendum is the period of the contract.
But Governor, we can't see it.
Okay.
Chairman, can I be allowed to provide this clear copy of the contract?
You see, the challenge is this, Governor.
We are not
this auditor was in Homa Bay.
Yes.
And asked that question and captured it in the management letter and captured it in the draft certificate It was not responded to. What is a justification that today in Nairobi it is being responded to, and yet it wasn't done during that audit period? And I think that's why part of our recommendation was administrative action on the officers who failed to provide the documentation on time, in the event that the documentation existed. Was there any administrative action taken?
Chair, and in addition, to be fair to us as your members, we are not reading anything. So even if the governor refers until cows come home on the aspects of the contract, we can't read. And a number of us are legal experts, Chair, and we really wanted to get into the substratum of the issue. So how will we assist the Chair, to be fair?
Yeah, Chair, finally, for the benefit of the people of Homa Bay, I think the most critical thing is the cost that the people of Homa Bay are incurring. Governor, I cannot believe personally that such an important matter would not be contained in the document itself in a more prominent manner. Because anything, even if you are buying mandazi, the first thing you ask is how much is this thing? And the contract has to provide for it. So it is unbelievable. And as I said, I have a lot of respect for your county attorney. If mistakes were made, we can just own up and say there were mistakes.
But Chair, this is more than a mistake. Because are you through the Chair, Governor, are you saying that the 5% is provided for on the last page of?
Yes, the 5% is provided on this contract where it says summary of costs. And Chairman, if you allow me, I would like to table I would like to apologize for the document not being clear, and I would like to table, Chairman, if you agree for your purpose, a clearer version of the contract document.
It's
9 copies, so that is enough.
Sometimes you are constrained to take new evidence at this point, but because you are quasi-judicial, maybe first table it to the clerk and then we'll take a view. But you see the point.
Does it mean we don't interrogate that aspect? Because
no, we definitely would, because in line with Senator Sifuna's query, the first page of the contract agreement talks about the 28 million.
Correct.
So the curiosity is why the 5% was captured in an appendix on the last page of the contract. You see, that's a reason for curiosity.
Yes.
That this could have been an afterthought, or this could have been an insertion to an original contract that wasn't there. And that is why the Auditor General asked that question, and it was not answered when the Auditor General was in Homa Bay.
Chairman, I want to say that, and this is under oath in the House here, that if the figure had not been part of the main contract, it would not be in anybody's interest to insert it and then say it is part of the original contract. So it was there, Chairman, but the reason it wasn't provided, I want to agree with the committee that the document should have been provided to the auditors in full, including the addendum, so that we did not have to raise this issue here. And Chairman, I want to assure you that whoever did not provide the document, we will take administrative action against them.
Governor, unfortunately, we have taken your copy of the document.
Yes.
And the beauty with this agreement is that it is signed on every page. Governor, if you look at the signatures on the previous page and the ones on this last page that you are now providing, they don't look the same. They have been signed by different people, and yet the people who have signed from the beginning are consistent. What is the explanation there? Just look at the previous page, Appendix B. The document, the page you are looking at is the Appendix C, Summary of Costs. Just flip one page back to Appendix B and look at the signatures down there.
Go back to as many pages as you want.
There is one distinct signature on Appendix C that is not on the other pages.
Yes.
This one that looks like a millipede.
I can see you're still traumatized from the BBI days, yes. But
No, that was Okoa Kenya.
Okoa Kenya.
Yeah. Governor, would you quickly respond to that? I think it's a valid observation.
I want to ask the attorney to respond to that.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, I just want to make reference to the document that is annexed at 6J, which is the contract on automation of revenue collection and management system. So, Chair, if you go to that document on page 2, you will see what constitutes the contract. And from the word go, you will see that at part C, whereas the amount of the contract is stated there at part C. But it goes ahead at paragraph 1, now therefore, that the following documents attached here shall be deemed to form an integral part of this contract. So it lists them, and it goes to number C, the appendices. Now on the appendices, number 1 is terms of reference, number 2 is the key experts, and appendix C is reimbursable cost estimates. So appendix A, B, and C constitute part of this contract. Now, what Her Excellency is referring to, and where there is a 5%, is appendix C. Now, if you go to the second last page of that document, it lists now the appendices. Number B is the key experts. Then the last page is the breakdown of contract prices. Now, it lists the amount of money. And at paragraph 3, maybe it is just because it's not clear, it says the transaction fee, and on the right side of the column, it says 5%. So these appendices were part of the original contract. So that there is no confusion, Chair, the last document, the one that is dated 3rd of July, the appendix, the addendum to contract, the addendum to contract is specific to the term. Chair, if you look at
we are with you on the same page.
We are
with you
yes,
on that.
Yes.
The observation is Appendix C,
yes,
and Appendix B has got different signatories.
Chairman,
Maybe that's what you need to
Chairman,
address yourself to.
can the signatory himself address himself to that, who's the Chief Officer Finance?
And it would also have been very useful for Appendix D and E to be availed so that we know whether they've also been signed, because they form part of the contract, as Attorney Orego has said.
I think just before the expert, what was the term?
The signatory.
The signatory.
Receiver of revenue.
Governor, just allow me to help you. This is a legal question, and I think you should allow your county attorney to explain to the Senate how it is possible, because all these documents he has run through are one contract. It is not possible for sections of the contract to be designed by Wambua, then
thank you, Chair and the committee. My name is Alphonse Wera, Chief Officer Finance and the Receiver of Revenue. That is my signature, and I gave the one which is
on the new document or the new one?
The new signature.
The one that Senator described. It's not new. If we start from the first page of the contract.
No. Where is it on Appendix B?
I'll refer to where it is.
Where is it on Appendix B?
Appendix all the appendices, I have.
Where 28 million is mentioned.
Sorry?
The first page of the contract agreement, where there is 21 million mentioned. 28.289 million.
Chair, that table has a breakdown of all the costs. That is why I put in my full signature.
Honorable members, does that make sense?
Can I ask, the other pages you're saying you also initialed?
No, all the other pages have initials on the left-hand side.
So these initials, which one, KB?
I've signed the page.
From the Auditor General, and you are saying that you put your full signature on it. Why didn't you address it and close it at that point in time? Why has it come to the Senate? Why are we discussing it? If that addendum was available and it receipt of revenue.
Yeah.
You say that you signed this appendix C.
Yes, I did.
That has a 5%.
Yes, I did.
Did you see this observation by the Auditor General in
Yes.
the draft certificate?
Yes, Chair, I saw.
Why didn't you address it at that point in time?
We did address and responded to it, Chair.
So how did it end up in the Senate and in the public domain? Because the auditor was not satisfied. Perhaps for the reasons that the committee is presenting now. So, honourable members, we need to
perhaps
get
you need
way
to
forward.
perhaps you need to provide context for why members grow suspicious of such presentation before the Senate. There has been a case of a county entity that came here with receipts. You remember, Chair?
Yes.
And from just a casual observation, you could tell that these documents had just been manufactured to answer or respond to the audit query. And that's why the Chair is saying these auditors, because again, I repeat, I'm also audited. Governor, you know, I'm also a an accounting officer. There is no way the auditor can ask the Honorable Kawino to produce a document, then he refuses to produce, and then he shows up with the document at the Senate. So, Auditor General, do you go through the same process you go?
An ML writing a draft. And again, maybe the issue is if their contract that has been provided, and that's why the auditor has really picked the issue, if there are annexes supporting that contract, and probably have just provided the face value of the contract. This some information is really missing. So at the point of maybe the ML issuance or even at the exit meeting, if there are annexes or maybe even the addendum that post the changes of some of the contract terms, then at that point could be provided for us to address the issue.
Senator Chirarge, and then ROR, you'll tell us this 5%, let's put it in context. How much money is it annually so that we know what we are dealing with? Senator Chirarge.
Yeah, I can see one of the residents of Homa Bay is calling me. I don't know why. Chair, maybe I've known the mischief. I've known the mischief why the governor has provided not readable contract. Because when you look at page 103, Governor,
Which one was it?
this is in J. This is
6J.
6J. I think page of 3 I have struggled, Chair. Governor, I need clarity. And of course, you have said you will take administrative action for somebody who one, you are using pounds unless maybe the governor will tell us whether this company is local or is it a UK-based company or is it domain is here in Kenya? Because if the contract sum was 28 million, then professional liability insurance with a minimum coverage of that is between 500,000 to 1 million pounds. Why was the inconsistency? What was the wisdom in the drafting of, and we have had the stories of the signatory, which does not look believable, Chair. What was this inconsistency? And by the way, Governor, can you provide us who are the people who signed, apart from one signatory, who signed and negotiated this contract? Because there is a process of contract, and why the difference between pounds and shillings? This is very unique, Chair.
Governor? And this is a problem of not providing documentation at the time of audit, because once it comes to the Senate, it's in the public domain, and we have all the rights to ask questions.
Chairman, I think we have, on the issue of the signature, I think it has been answered to the best of our knowledge.
Not necessarily to the satisfaction of the committee.
To the best of our knowledge, by the person who signed the contract, and Chairman, or the percentage of money was part of that original contract. And I do this, Chairman, in good faith and under oath. I want to ask the attorney to respond to the figures that have been provided, the provisional liability figures that have been provided in pounds.
Thank you very much, Chair. In respect of paragraph 24.1, the insurance coverage against the risk shall be as follows. So it's the Professional Liability Insurance Act, 1 million. Is actually 1 million.
We are struggling, Wakili, with all what you have brought before us. They are not legible. And we are not superhuman.
The figure is £500,000, $500,000, and in one period a maximum of $1 million. Those are the figures. These are the terms. Ordinarily, these are provided for by insurance companies. So that in terms of exposure, that is what they usually provide for.
I agree with the principle, but,
yes.
But what was the wisdom in having in different... You know, you are bringing us to IPP. You remember the story of independent power producers, and you are in parliament, where Kenyans were questioning, why are you buying power through IPP agreements in dollars? So that is my only concern. And she was the chair of finance and in the last session.
Because in that case, AG, what you have done, you have really fully taken care of the insurer.
Yes.
But you have exposed.
And the changes in terms of currency will keep changing every minute, even if you go to NSC.
And I should believe that if you are worried about the currency, this actually protects the county more, because the dollar ideally will be more stable than the shilling looking at past rates. So in terms of
The
cover,
Wakili, the shilling has been stable at 120, 130 for the last.
yes, so but the point is noted. When we are doing our next set, I think we'll put in shillings. But the problem usually with these documents is that sometimes standard documents that are used from PPA,
Yes.
PPOA. But the point I think is well taken. But the intention was to prevent and protect the county government
Were
from
you
losses.
there when this contract was negotiated and executed?
No, I did the addendum. I did the addendum.
Then there is an inconsistency that governor said. So you are not there. There was another county attorney.
Yes, at the time I wasn't there.
But if you are not there, why did you say in addendum that that Senator Sifuna had pointed out, your indulgence chair?
Yes.
And were areas at the time of execution of the contract agreement, the parties were yet to agree on the contract period and therefore did not provide therefore in special conditions. So had you been aware of the original contract?
Actually, through the chair, if you look at the contract at 14.1, it provides that the contract period will be agreed upon. Now, when the contract was signed at the time, that was not done. So you will see that in the addendum, that now that is executed by me because now I had joined in July of 2023. It now provides for what should have been put in 14.1 under the special conditions. So we are provided now for the period of the contract. That is actually the basis of the addendum.
In 24.1, it says
14.1.
I'm talking about 24.1 on the insurance cover.
Yes.
It says at any one period of insurance. So what did that mean?
Yes, so because
2028?
Yeah, no, because this is a multiple year contract every financial year. So because you take a cover each and every year for the that is what it refers to.
So why did you indicate that it's 12 months or you use the financial year?
It's one financial year. Every insurance
But
premium.
you have said one period, and the interpretation of one period and one financial year are 2 worlds apart to a kill it.
It's one insurance period.
Can you take an oath? Because now, Chair, the wakil is trying to be clever by half.
I think we'll take a view. I think there's some inconsistencies that as a committee we must apply our minds to. And this is a self-inflicted problem, Governor, because you didn't need to come with these contracts to the Senate if you would have provided them to the Auditor General. And it is inviting more questions, which puts a lot of doubt on the contractual agreement here. To allow Senator Cherargei to close, and then we quantify what this 5% is. I mean, how much has it been on an annual basis?
This arrangement of automation of all source revenue in Homa Bay, I'm not comfortable. It looks like the people of Homa Bay have been ripped off. So I request that we step down this question. We assess as the committee to see if there was value in terms of this use of this system and this contract. Because we need even to invite the company. Because in the observation of the OAG, there was supposed to be interruption of services at some point. So we need to know what was. We have seen the agreement, not legible, but we need to study this contract. Because to me, there is a lot of inconsistency between the original contract and the addendum. And the fact that there is difference in currency, there is the issue of agency fees, or is it commission fee of 5%? Can we look as a committee internally on the inconsistencies of this contract to ensure there is a benefit to the people of
I think you are giving a way forward, which we can give once we have heard. How much is this 5% that you have been paying? How much is it? Because we don't have a picture on how many streams run through this system and how much you are collecting annually through this system, so that we contextualize the size of the problem. Did you get my question? How much are you collecting through the system annually?
Yes, Chair. We have, I can talk about an average of about 2 million.
Only 2 million goes through the system?
I'm saying that this 5%, because we collect...
No, start with what you collect.
We collect depending on the month, we collect between 16 million to 34 million.
So annually?
That is off medical income. FIF, the bigger portion of our income is not part of what is considered because it is not being collected using this system. So we are other income outside the public health and medical service income, which ranges between 16 million to around 36 or so million. And in a month where we are collecting the SBP, the single business part, it can go up to 60 million. So averagely it's around 2 million over the regular period of collection. That is per month.
CEO, you are giving too much information, which is going to land you into problems.
Chairman,
just tell us in a year,
Chairman,
how much passes through the system.
Yeah.
Is this 5% monthly or this is annual?
It's monthly.
It is monthly.
Chairman, it is 5% on the monies that we raise. So what CEO needs to do is just to work out how much money passes through the system
Yes.
and what is 5% of it. So I think that is what
we are
you need
looking
to just give him a few minutes, Chairman, your indulgence, to work out that amount and then just give the figure. But Chairman, I wanted to say from what Senator Cherargei said, that to say that people of Homa Bay are being ripped off from this system, I feel, Chairman, is inflammatory in the sense that nothing on the issues we are discussing have spoken to ripping off of the people of Homa Bay.
I think that was his opinion. As a chair, I will give the way forward.
Thank you, Chairman.
Yeah, let's just allow him. That was his opinion. As a chair, I will give the way forward. Yeah, let's just allow him to also hold an opinion.
Chair, the governor, before Senator...
No, you have stated your opinion. There is no need to...
No, it's not about opinion. It's about facts.
Yes. So you are on record.
Chair, if we wanted an opinion, we could do a literature class.
On this contract.
Because facts are stable. They are provided.
You're carrying out the audit here. We are doing the audit here. They are calculating the figures here. They are taking us through the signatures here. Chair, this should not be happening here. The documents that we have, it's very difficult for us to engage on the basis of the documents that we have. They are hardly eligible. So, Chair, I would propose that we step this down and engage on this at a later date thoroughly. As to whether there are reports or not, Cherargei is only accountable to his own statements. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean, he has a right to express himself, whether it's facts or opinion. ROR, you have the number, or we can proceed and we come back to this later? Well, if you are struggling, then what we'll do, this is a matter that will then, there are two elements to it. Keeping it in
Chairman,
view.
he has a figure.
Okay, proceed.
For the financial year, we are looking at that is 17,962,251.
That was 23-24 for that financial year.
Yeah.
That's the 5%.
That's the 5%.
Which, if this committee was to reach the conclusion that it was not lawfully levied, then that would be the figure we are citing or referring to the EACC.
That is the calculated figure.
Okay, honourable members, let's. I've had two requests that we stand down this particular matter. We will consult with the Auditor General on this, and perhaps internally, so that we consider which direction we are giving this, because we started with the documents that were not legible. We started with an auditor who had been in the county for several months and was not provided with these documents. So I will agree with Senator Wambua and Senator Cherargei to the extent that we give this matter further consideration. Now, there are a few other issues in the ROR where we will take the written responses. I think a substantive matter was on the valuation role. We have taken note of your response, particularly the legislative changes at the national level that have posed a challenge to county governments. I think it's also a matter that we shall keep in view. I want to, for purposes of time, request that we go to the report on the executive. Auditor General has already flagged those issues that are still outstanding. And on the report of the executive, we will start with pending accounts payable. Auditor, pending accounts payable.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Pending accounts payable, note 19.1, under other important disclosure and Annex 3 to the financial statements reflect the pending accounts payable totaling to Kenya shilling 955,548,525 in respect to the accounts payable brought forward through the year 2022-2023. During the year under review, pending bills to the county executive incurred pending bills of Kenya shilling 1,098,638,645, bringing a total pending bill for Kenya shilling 2,054,177,170, out of which the management settled an amount of 861.9 million, leaving a balance of 1.1 billion. This is indicative of the county government failure to settle the pending bills as first charge to the budget, contrary to the requirement of the Regulation 41 of the County Public Finance Management Act, County Government Regulation 2015.
Now, as I said earlier, the Senate made certain recommendations, and the recommendation on pending bills was generic across the 47 counties because there was a motion that the House adopted that would guide counties in treatment of pending bills. So you might find that our recommendation was fairly generic because it applied to all the 47 counties. It is a very lengthy recommendation, so we don't need to read it verbatim. Let me just ask the Governor to respond on the action taken.
Thank you, Chairman. Homa Bay County has undertaken significant measures to address pending bills and has established an active payment plan in collaboration with the Office of the Controller of Budget, which prioritizes pending bills as a first charge on available resources. The pending bills for financial year 2023-2024 were not fully settled due to limited fiscal space during the period. However, under the payment plan for financial year 24-25, the county has disbursed a total of 620,478,914 between July 2024 and June 2025. The county government remains committed to settling the outstanding balance of 571,788,903 in accordance with the approved payment plan outlined below. First quarter 2025-2026, 38,986,223. Second quarter 25-26, 135,600,200. Third quarter 2025-2026, 147,256,324. And in the fourth quarter, 101,256,300. And in financial year 2026-2027, 148,689,846. We have appendices there. 5A, pending bills. 5B, outstanding bills of 571,788,903. And 5C, pending bills paid of 620,478,914. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, in your appendices, is there any that does an aging analysis of the outstanding bills?
The month and year in which they were incurred is showed on the first column.
Where do we get that? Is that which appendix? So 5B or
5A, the first column. 5B has an aging has an aging analysis, 1 to 2 years, 2 to 3 years, and over 3 years. 5C.
So 5A is a payment plan.
That is a list of pending bills.
5A. But the header there is pending bills payment plan.
Yeah.
So it's a payment plan.
It's a payment plan. It's a list and a plan.
Then 5B is what is outstanding after paying what is in 5A.
Yes, 571, 788.
Okay. So of this outstanding pending bill list, just want to see the aging. Is there a way of telling the age of whatever remains of the 571 million?
Yes.
Or there's a date of the LPO, LSO contract.
There is a summary on the first page that shows those that are under 1 year, 1 to 2 years, 2 to 3 years, and over 3 years.
So, in the outstanding pending bills of 571 million, only 1% is over 3 years.
7.8 million.
That's 1%.
Those are the eligible bills, not the ones that are claimed. The ones that are claimed are many, but the ones that were tasked as eligible.
So you have another list of ineligible pending bills.
There is ineligible pending bills, yes, and the report that we received from the task force that we put together. This has been availed to the contractors.
So why are we, if they are ineligible through your processes, why are they still in our books?
They are not in our books now. It is a separate list. I'm just mentioning this because of you mentioned earlier about the pressure and the petitions that you had received. That's why I was mentioning that.
So is the pressure coming from those on the ineligible list or the ones on the eligible list?
Both. There are those who feel strongly that they submitted bills, but they know they have been informed that they are ineligible. So both groups continue to put pressure.
If you as head of a government, using whatever systems, you have gone through this process and said that X is a list of ineligible bills, which other institution can change that position?
The vetting process ended there.
So, because, these things must be brought to a close. If it is ineligible through your processes, and maybe you need to describe what that process was, because you cannot carry ineligible bills and have them hanging in the air for 3-4 years. In this financial year, Auditor General, we have moved to accrual from cash basis, and therefore pending bills will be treated in a different manner. Do we expect the county of Homa Bay to carry the ineligible bills in the balance sheet?
Maybe Chair, this requires some guidance, because if they have confirmed and it has been indicated that it's ineligible, and probably even the contract has not provided the required, there is a process they have gone through in terms of even confirming the work they have done, or maybe even the documentations. So that brings the issue of the separations, because how do you bring them as payable if probably the documentation itself is also missing? Or maybe the vetting process has confirmed that the work has not also been done, because it's a process that has been done by the management.
Yeah, so
Chair, can I say something about this pending bills before Senator? I thought this matter Edwin Canvas and Kitala High Court, that the people who should only verify, and I wish the governor was listening, and it's good the county attorney is here. I don't know whether, Governor, you are aware when Governor of Trans Nzoia tried to form a verification pending bills committee, the courts ruled that in Kitala High Court that it is only the OAG was the verification of pending bills. So my question would be, during that time when you formed a task force, did you form a task force before that decision came into play? And now that you have indicated the eligible and eligible pending bills, how many in that task force report, if you could be kind enough to provide us a copy, and tell this committee which are eligible pending bills and eligible pending bills, and whether the OAG was involved in the task force report in terms of verification of the pending bills. And I would like to know whether your county attorney did advise you on the implications of that decision. Because I think the OAG, Muriuki, you still maintain that you are the only constitutional recognized body that you can only verify. So on these account payables, through the chair, on these accountable payables on pending bills, were you capturing what you had from the raw data that were provided through financial statements that the entity provided, or what was the essence? That because the governor now is saying there is a report they did and they were paying as per that report, yet in the OAG report, where is the nexus? Maybe the OAG can go first and then the governor through the chair.
Okay. Yeah, so let's understand the process and then confirm whether it's in line with the court ruling in Kitale. So, but that should be described by the governor, isn't it?
Whether the OAG participated in the entire process.
In the verification.
Yeah.
OAG?
Sure, we didn't participate through the vetting of those pending bills, especially for the contractors.
Okay. Governor, what was the process that you instituted?
Yeah. Chair, we, as many counties did, we did institute a task force, which I appointed and gazetted, that made a public call in the newspapers for anybody who had pending bills to submit. The committee was made out of senior, auditors and other very senior professionals. All the contractors submitted their bills, the ones that, and you are told to submit bills and documents, which they did. The audit committee then looked through the documents, the whole county. They looked through all of them. They went round the projects. If you say you did a road or a toilet or whatever it is, they went round and checked all those projects. And I think they were able to go around to about 85% of the projects. Then they did a report, which was made public to the contractors. And then there was an appeal window that was also given for contractors who felt that their contracts were ineligible. This was done together with our internal audit department. And I wanted the attorney to speak to the issue of the case, because I remember when we were back here in the Senate when the issue of the case came up, but we had already concluded our processes by then. But attorney, please intervene on the case and how it affected our process.
Before attorney comes on board, so what was the number that was deemed to be ineligible before attorney talks to the process?
I don't have it off the top of my head, but I want the team to get it from the report.
Okay, then the attorney can proceed as they verify that.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, I want to point out that this task force was appointed way back. It must have been in late 2022, just immediately after Excellency took over office. That was way before the decision on Kitale was